Hello everyone, this is Meera K. I secured an All India rank 6 in Civil Service Examination 2020. Today I am here to share with you the complete list of books and other resources that I refer to for the prelims and mains examination. Yeah, so this is in brief about me. My name, as I said, is Meera. I did my graduation in mechanical engineering from Government Engineering College, Thrissur, that is in Kerala. And my optional subject was sociology, and one of my interests include quizzing, which I've done a lot during my college days. Now, before we go straight, if you want to see more of my videos or if you want to refer to the video again, you can always go to the Unacademy website and use the code MEERA6 to watch the video. I hope it helps you in your preparation. Similarly, you can find a lot of wonderful videos and sessions by a lot of educators on Unacademy. So do refer to it if you need to, and yeah, try to crack it. Now, coming back to our topic, that is my book list. So, I have not done this in the conventional prelims, mains, and then the GS 1, 2, 3. I have not done in that format. I've tried to provide a comprehensive, syllabus topic list and then the resources that I use for it. So, I am trying to cover history, geography, polity, governance, economics, environment, science and tech, ethics, and some small topics, especially in GS3, then the current affairs, and then my optional sociology. So, that will be covered in this session. I'll also, along with the book list and resources, I'll try to let you know how I try to make use of the resources and tailor it into my own needs. So coming to the first topic, that is history. Again, history can be divided into ancient India, medieval India, modern India, art and culture, there is world history, there is post-independence India. So out of this ancient, medieval, art and culture and modern India, you need it for your prelims as well as your mains. I didn't use any separate resources for prelims and mains, everything was combined. So for ancient India, I mainly depended on the NCERTs, class 6 NCERT and class 12 NCERT theme 1 for the ancient India. So this class 6 NCERT, I've heard that the old NCERTs are better, but I was using the new NCERTs because that is what I could buy in the market. So I think any NCERTs will do, class 6 and class 12. And then you have the Tamil Nadu SCERT. That is something I refer to in addition to the NCERTs. Tamil Nadu SCERT I found to be a really good book because in NCERT the issue is that everything is divided into themes and concepts and everything. A lot of factual information is missing, but that can be bridged through your Tamil Nadu SCERT. And I think in recent times, if you see the nature of prelims, you need a bit more of a factual understanding to crack the ancient and medieval India section. Now coming to the next topic, that is medieval India, again I use the same basic resources. NCERT class 7 and class 12 theme 2 was used, and also the Tamil Nadu SCERT. This is class 11 and 12 SCERTs that was used by me to supplement whatever is there in the NCERT. I didn't do anything in addition to for ancient and medieval India. Rest everything, whatever I was lacking, was covered through doing test series. Next is art and culture, again a very important topic. A lot of questions are coming these days. So for this, my basic resource was the Introduction to Indian Art, which is a very brilliant NCERT with a lot of pictures and a lot of information. So this was my primary source. This is the red NCERT that you can find. Then there are also other NCERTs on handicrafts and craft traditions, etc., which can be used, but I didn't personally use it, but I think you can also use that. In addition to this, I've also referred to Nitin Singhania's handwritten notes, not the book, published book as such, but the handwritten notes that are available in the market, and also YouTube videos, especially for the dance forms, the music, etc. When you go and watch a music video, so if you are trying to understand about the say about Kathak. And if you go and watch a Kathak performance, you can see the kind of musical instruments that are being used, and the kind of music that is there, the kind of dress that is being used, the kind of actions that is being done by the performers. So it kinds of get into your head if you are a visual kind of person. So I am a person whose visual memory is very strong. So I used to depend a lot on YouTube videos. This can also be used for the monuments part. So if you see a monument, if you're reading about the Taj Mahal, if you have never seen it, it's very hard to visualize how it is. But if you've seen it, you know that it's white in color, it's made of minarets and everything. So you know that how it looks. Once you know how it looks, you can answer a lot of questions if it comes from there, and it will help you in eliminating options, and even in mains also it can help you. So, art and culture, along with introduction to Indian art NCRT and Nitin Singhania, I very generously went and looked for the YouTube videos of dance forms, music, the crafts, the paintings, the monuments, etc. Now coming to modern India, again very important topic. So first what I did was that I read Bipin Chandra's India's Struggle for Independence, which is a very lengthy book. I'll not say that you have to do it, because if you are attending a class or if you have some other lecture notes available to you, you don't have to go through it. But then I really like to read history, and Bipin Chandra was there with me, so I read it once. But I didn't use it for the exam as such. That reading it once gave me a lot of perspectives. It put the timeline in place, it put the various events that led to a lot of other pivotal moments in history very clear in my head. And then what I repeatedly used for modern India was Spectrum Publications Modern India book, which again I think is one of the most important which again I think is one of the most important reference sources for modern India. I also did the NCRT class 8 and the theme 3 of class 12. Yeah. So this was done for modern India. Now coming to the two topics, world history and post-independence India, these are both solely for mains purposes, and you will hardly get one or two questions from each. So I didn't again refer to a lot of resources. For world history, the old NCRT of class 10th written by Arjun Dev, that is a brilliant resource. I think that is the only thing you have to read for world history. Even the tricky questions that are coming, the decolonization of Malay Peninsula, of West Africa, all these things you can get in Arjun Dev. So I think that's a very good resource. Similarly, for post-independence India, I didn't refer to any book as such. I've heard that India after Gandhi and India after independence by Bipin Chandra. These are good books, but they are very bulky, and we just have like hardly get one or two questions from this area. So it's not, in terms of a purely examination point of view, it's not worth the effort of reading such bulky books for a small topic. So what I did was that I referred to notes from online platforms which are generously available in the market. You can go and pick whatever one particular note you want and just go through it. That is the only thing you have to do for post independence India. So this is my book list for history. Now coming to geography, again it's a very small book list because the NCRT class 6 to class 11 is very important. That is something that will help you cover almost all areas of your geography. So class 6 to class 12, there are about 9 NCRTs I think. This has to be done very thoroughly. Even prepared notes out of these NCRTs. So they are that important. And then we have GC Leong. Again, can be used for conceptual clarity. There are certain topics that are explained to a very in-depth way, so you don't have to go through it. Especially the climate part you can refer to in the GC Leong. The last few chapters of GC Leong you can refer to. The various climatic regions of the world, etc. So for that I refer to GC Leong. And then YouTube videos. These are very important because random YouTube videos, there are many concepts in geography like jet streams and cyclones. There is the monsoon, and then there is phenomenon like El Nino, and there is there are many circulations, especially in the climatology and oceanography part. So if you go and watch YouTube videos, these concepts will be very clear to you. Just there'll be like 1 minute video showing how monsoon is formed or how jet streams are influencing the climate regions of the world. So this is very important. You can just go and watch YouTube videos. Once you again, because if you are a person who remembers from visuals or from sounds, that will be there in your mind, and it will be very easy for you to crack these kind of questions in prelims or mains. So that's all about YouTube videos. And then of course there is the atlas, India map, world map, which you have to refer to it again and again. Stick a copy of a map of India and world map near your study table. Go through it every now and then. And then also be very thorough with the major water bodies like the Red Sea, the Black Sea, and the countries surrounding it, the major places in news, especially if there is some convention happening in some city in the world, or if there is some terrorist attack in some city, you have to know where that city is, which country it belongs to, etc. So for this, atlas is again very important. So this was my book list for the geography. Again, for prelims and mains, this is the only resources I used. Now coming to the third topic, polity and governance. Again, very important topic. I cannot stress this enough, because polity, for prelims you're getting a lot of questions, and if you know your polity and governance part well, a major chunk of your GS2 is also done. So polity and governance is very important, and of course the primary resource that I used was Lakshmikant. You have to read it very thoroughly. A lot of chapters are explained very beautifully in Lakshmikant, so just go through it. Repeated revisions of Lakshmikant is very important. At least read your Lakshmikant 3-4 times before you go for your prelims or your mains. And then you have the NCERT class 6 to class 12. So there are many people who do not read NCERTs for polity and governance, but I had read it. There are many reasons for it. One thing is that it puts a lot of concepts very simply into your head, which will be later discussed in very in depth in Lakshmikant. So the basic ideas and the basic conceptual clarity you'll get from your NCERTs. And then if you see the prelims question paper, 2 or 3 questions from the polity area is coming from the philosophical part. So what do you mean by democracy, or what do you mean by bureaucracy? So these kind of questions you'll not find answers in Lakshmikant. For this, you have to know the very essence of what these ideas are, or what were the actual events that led to the formation of these ideas, and what is the philosophy behind it. So for this, you need your NCERTs class 6 to class 12. And if at all you're not reading any other NCERTs, just read this NCERT, Indian Constitution at Work. This is very important. It explains a lot of concepts in a very beautiful manner. So try to read at least this NCERT. Now coming to another book that I used, there is this book that the government releases every year, that is the India Yearbook. It has a polity part which I found a bit more useful, because everything was given in a very concise manner there, and there are some areas which are not covered in Lakshmikant being covered in this India Yearbook polity, so you can just go through it. And then Bare Constitution, Bare Act is there. So Bare Act, I didn't read the whole thing. I just went through the important articles. For example, fundamental rights, Supreme Court, Parliament, the constitutional bodies, such kind of articles. I just went and saw what is actually written in the Constitution. I didn't study it or something. I just referred to it occasionally. So that this is my book list for polity. And then the governance part, I didn't do it separately. What I did was that I took each and every topic that is there in the syllabus, and I just googled it, found some institute or some other material online, and I just went through it. I didn't have a particular book list or particular website for governance. So this is my polity and governance part. So coming to the next part, that is economics. Again, very important. Indian economy and some basic economics is essential for your prelims and mains. If you see prelims, a lot of questions are coming from economics, and most of them are very easy also. If you have your concepts right, then you can tackle the questions from economics. Mains, for GS3, a majority of GS3 topics are somewhere related to economy. So economics is very important. Again, I did read economics NCRTs also, class 10 NCRT. Again, it's a very small book. It will hardly take you half a day to read it. So I went through it. Then there is this book called Indian Economic Development, which is the class 11 NCRT. Again, a very good book. The data there is a bit outdated, which you will have to correct. You have to correct it with the current data. But then the concepts that are explained, how Indian economy evolved, that is very brilliantly given in this NCRT. So you can go through it. Similarly, there is this class 11 macroeconomics NCRT. Again, I just went through it. A lot of concepts are given in a very clear manner. Whatever formulae or derivations are there in that, I skipped it altogether. I just focused on the concepts that are there in the macroeconomics NCRT, class 12 NCRT. Similarly, there is this book called Shankar Ganesh, which I refer to. Other people also say that there is Ramesh Singh, but I think Shankar Ganesh is more precise and light. Ramesh Singh is very bulky, and I was a person who couldn't understand the A of economics. So I thought I'll go with the lighter version, which is Shankar Ganesh. I use that book. Then there is economic survey and budget. Very, very important. You have to read that year's survey and budget. And if at all you're too lazy to go through the actual document, you can always refer to some institute notes of it. I personally read the whole economic survey cover to cover, and I found it useful also. It's not just because some questions will directly come from there, but it will give you a lot of perspectives for your essay, for your mains GS 1, 2, 3 papers. It will give you a lot of points to write. So economic survey and budget. Then I use some websites like Investopedia, Arthapedia, Vikaspedia, etc. for conceptual clarity on certain topics. And then I also had attended class for economics because it was again a pain point for me, and I have my class notes with me, so that was also something I referred to. All about economics. Now coming to the next topic, that is environment. Again, I just refer to one private coaching institute note for economics. You can find a lot of notes in market. Take one, stick to it. Do not go behind a lot of materials for this. And the thing about environment and economics is that you have a lot of resources in the market, lot of things explaining stuff, and every now and then new notes and new current affairs compilations will come. What you have to do is, for the basics of environment, stick to one material, revise it again and again, and then you can also refer to one current affairs material for environment, which you can pick from the market. Any market material will do for current affairs. The basic part of environment is the ecology part. So those who are not from science background, if you want to get more conceptual clarity, you can read the NCRT class 12 biology book, last 4 chapters. I had last 4 chapters. I had skimmed through it because I'm from science background and I could understand the concepts easily. I didn't again dwell on it, but if you want, you can always go through this. It's also a very brilliant explanation of the ecology aspect of environment. Yeah, so that's all about environment. Yeah, now coming to the next topic, that is science and technology. Again, any current affairs booklet. Science and technology, UPSC is not usually asking questions from the static area. So if you are not a science student, if you've stopped your science education at class 10, and if you are very underconfident about science, just go through the NCERT's ones. That will do. You don't have to go through anything else for the basic science part. And if you think your basic science is okay, then just take some current affairs booklet and understand what is happening. Also, there are certain topics like, say, blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and nanotechnology, biotechnology, etc. So, for this, what you can do is just go Google it and read some institute article written on it, and that's it. You don't have to, go in depth in there and study a lot. And then you have the Rajya Sabha TV Science Monitor, which is about the current affairs in science that is happening in our country. So, if you have time, you can just go through it occasionally. I never refer to it every, religiously, like every time it comes, I never made notes or I watched it. I occasionally watched it when I was free and I was feeling like doing something on science. That was the only thing I did with RSTV Science Monitor, but it's a very good program. So, if you want, you can go through it. Another thing about science and technology is, along with this, you need to have a basic logical kind of answering skill. So for prelims, if you see, science and tech questions look like a lot, arbitrary questions on genetics and, biotechnology, and some very in-depth questions, drawn technology, etc. But then what you have to do in science and tech questions in prelims especially is that you have to think logically, and if something is possible, just put that as yes, that is possible, because this is science and it keeps on evolving. So if somewhere at some point some scientist has discovered that something can do something, that will become a true statement. So keep your mind open when it comes to science and technology. Now coming to GS4, that is ethics. I did study the static part. I didn't just do the case study part and wrote something in part A. That was not my strategy. I did thoroughly study the first part, part A, and for this I used this book called Lexicon, which I found enough for the part A bit. And then I made some notes out of it, and I also made some notes regarding the famous thinkers like Socrates, Aristotle, etc. for the ancient and the old thinkers. And then I also did some contemporary Indian thinkers like Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Swami Vivekananda, etc. That was also included in my self notes for ethics. So along with this, I just practiced some case studies, and that was it for ethics. Now, coming to this, it might look very long, but the thing that you have to do in all this is the same. That's why I combined everything together. So, you have Indian society, IR, disaster management, social justice, internal security, and agriculture. So, for Indian society, I didn't particularly do anything as such because my optional is sociology. But then, if you really want to do something here, I would say you can go for the class 11 and class 12 NCERTs for the Indian society part. I personally didn't refer to anything because it was already covered in my optional syllabus. Coming to international relations, what you can do is pick any material that is there in the current affairs and just go through it. They are not asking for any historic international relations or something that is not relevant. Mostly they are asking about India's relationship with neighborhood, with the major countries of the world, and with power blocks like Middle East, the Southeast Asian countries, or the Quad, or the BIMSTEC, etc. And then they are also looking for current affairs. For example, there was this Afghanistan issue, so they might ask something about India-Afghan, or there was this Israel-Palestine issue was there, so they might ask you something about India's stand in Israel-Palestine, or India's relationship with Israel or Palestine. So this is again something that it's very dynamic, so you can cover it mostly from the current affairs material that you have. Along with this, for disaster management, again, there is no set way of doing disaster management. What you can do is you can pick any current affairs material any institute material that is there in the market and go through it. And one thing you can do is you can have a set answer writing format for disaster management. I always had this. So for any kind of disaster, if they asked us for the solution or what can be done, I always had headings like you know structural measures, non-structural measures, policy level measures, and then you know people involvement. So I had headings like this pre-planned, and then for any kind of disaster that is being asked, I would simply elaborate on this. So for example, if it's an earthquake, we have structural measures to be taken against earthquake, non-structural measures are there, policy level measures are there, and then people involvement is there, and then you can also add your own points to this. So if it is a cyclone, again I'll customize it into cyclonic level management for structural, using structural, non-structural, etc. So whatever points you need here, this you can find online. You can always keep it pre-planned and then customize everything for the whichever kind of disaster or whatever question is being asked. And also there are many very good ministry handbooks. There is the PM's Prime Minister's 10-point agenda for disaster management. India's commitment to Sendai framework is there. So these are very good documents that the government has released, which then there is a disaster management act is there, the handbook is there. So this you can go through for disaster management. So this is the ministry websites and handbooks that I refer to especially for disaster management. Then we have social justice. Again, social justice also, it's a very dynamic topic. There is no single resource or single book that you can use. So you can use multiple online resources. There are many institute notes are there, and each topic you can simply Google and find an article, note it down and make your own notes for all the topics that are there under social justice. So that's all about social justice. Similarly, for internal security also, I just refer to a private coaching note and supplemented it with the current affairs material. And agriculture. Coming to agriculture, one major thing I did was that for every topic, for the marketing, for the issues in agriculture and the irrigation issues, transportation issues, everything I had a separate note planned, and each of these note was made using multiple online resources, including Vikaspedia and other institute notes also was used. So along with this, for agriculture, what I would do was that when I was making notes, I would also pick some diagrams from the internet and add along with this. For example, for agriculture, if say there is a question on irrigation, you can always, for drip irrigation, you can always draw a plan like this, and you can draw this pipeline, and you can draw water dripping. So this is drip irrigation, and it hardly takes 2 to 3 seconds to do this. And instead of elaborating on drip irrigation, if you have this thing, you will get a 1 mark in addition or half a mark in addition, which is very important. So these kind of diagrams I would pick up from the internet. Just I would search for images, and if there is something that I can draw, I would draw it in my note and keep. So that is one thing. So that's all about the small bit topics that are there for the mains. Yeah. Now coming to another major area, that is current affairs. Majority of my current affairs was done through newspaper. Yeah. Majority of my current affairs was done through newspaper. You can refer to any national daily, but the preferred one in the market is either the Hindu or the Indian Express. You can refer to other papers also if you're comfortable with it, but this is what usually aspirants go for. Then I personally read the Indian. I read the Hindu in the first 2 years and Indian Express in the next 2 years, because I had to switch to the e-paper and I just went for Indian Express. That's all. There is nothing, no major difference between both the papers. And then monthly magazine. Any major institutes monthly compilation of news you can go for. So one monthly compilation every month and newspaper every day. That is the basic essential for current affairs. And then occasionally for selective reading, I went for PIB, PRS. So these are websites. And then Yojana magazine also. If somebody says that a very good article has come in Yojana, then I would go and read it. Otherwise, it was not done on a monthly basis or a regular basis. It's just a occasional selective reading. But this PIB and PRS, whenever you're preparing notes, say you want to prepare something about the farm bills, then instead of just Googling it, you can just Google farm bill PRS, and then you'll get a very beautiful analysis of the farm bills and what the three acts are and what are the issues with it, what are the positive sides of it. So this you can find in PRS. So any government scheme, any government act you want to know, you can go to PRS. Similarly, any new scheme you want to know about, you can always go to PIB. What happens here is that you will get directly what the government is trying to give you, and that will help you understand it more comprehensively. So any institute or any newspaper is taking these basic resources and then they are picking few things from it and giving you as notes. So if you go for PIB, you'll get the complete thing there. So I think it's very useful also. And then I also refer to RSTV videos like, Vishesh and Desh Deshantar, and then there is the big picture is there. So I occasionally refer to that. And then there is Cut the Clutter by Shekhar Gupta of The Print, which I used to watch every day because I find it very interesting. Everything is explained in a very simple manner. So Cut the Clutter videos also I used to refer for current affairs. So that's all about the GS part. Now coming to the sociology part. So that's all about the GS part. Now coming to this sociology part, which is my optional. Here, if you see this and this form the basic reading material that I used. And these were all selective reading. Okay. So the primary resource of sociology is class 11 and class 12 NCERTs, especially if you are new to the discipline. Like me, I was an engineer and sociology was something completely new for me. So I started with the class 11 and class 12 NCERTs, which I found very important. And then I had attended a private coaching in Trivandrum. So I had my coaching notes with me, which formed the basic notes that I would use for the syllabus. And then there is this book called Essential Sociology by Nitin Sangwan sir, which is very important. Again, so what happens in private coaching notes is that you have a lot of holes in the syllabus. A lot of topics are not usually covered in the class notes. So whatever was not covered in the class, I would cover it from Essential Sociology. And then there is this IGNOU BA and MA materials, which would again be used to supplement these resources. So if some topic is lacking content, or if it needs more thinkers to be put in, or if it needs more perspectives to be put in, I would go for IGNOU BA and MA materials. I never comprehensively covered everything from IGNOU, but I did a very selective reading. Then there is this book called Haralambos and Healed, which is a orange colored book. I did a selective reading of it. It's a wonderful book, not just in the exam perspective. I don't know how useful it is for the exam, but to understand the discipline and to, kind of like the discipline, you can start with Haralambos and Healed, which is very beautifully explaining various concepts of sociology. So it's not just for the exam, but to get a grasp of what the subject is about, you can use Haralambos. And then there is this book called Contemporary India, written by Meera Chandok, which again, it's not directly related to the syllabus or something, but then there are many topics that are part of our syllabus being covered in this through different articles written by different authors in this. So I went through it. It will also add value to your essay paper. So this is what I refer to, and then there is a site called thoughtco.com. It's a website, it's an international website. So if you just go for thoughtco.com/sociology, you will get a lot of articles explaining most of the syllabus topic in a very beautiful manner, just the way you want it for a proper answer. So this site also I used to refer. So this is my comprehensive book list for sociology. Whatever else was there, that was usually covered through test series and the key that I receive for test series. If something is left out, that would be covered in the test series. So that is all I did for sociology. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was of use to you. Thank you so much for watching, and let's crack it.